Good day, or hello, or hi, and welcome to week 48 here in my Stitch Circle Show Challenge. And when I say my, I also mean for those of you who follow the project. And if you just have found my video here and thinking, what are you talking about, or what is she talking about, look here below under the little word more, or in the description box, and there you will find a link to the playlist called the Stitch Circle Show Challenge. Find week 1, and there I will explain much more deeply what this challenge is about. But in short terms, it is me who set a couple of Dogma rules every week so you can make a small embroidery. And when the year is over here, because it is for 2025, you will have 52 small samples of embroideries to look at and be inspired by, and you can use in your work if you don't know what to do. It is a great source for inspiration here when you're done. We have done a lot of different things so far here in the book, and some you perhaps will like more than others, and we all have our favorite stitches. So yeah, that was one thing. The other thing is, if you want to participate, and I know it's very late in the year, but for as long as Facebook and Instagram and YouTube exists, this challenge will be there. But you can apply if you want to do the challenge. I have a Facebook group, and there also is a link for that. Don't apply if you don't want to do the challenge. Then you must just look at the videos or look at the 2 hashtags I have put up below here under the video also, if you is doing Instagram and not Facebook. And I totally understand if you don't want to do Facebook or Instagram and you just do it by yourself, but then you perhaps could send me a comment that you're doing it, because sometimes it's nice to know here in my end if I sit on a lonely island and I don't know what people are doing, others than I of course can see it in the group on Facebook and on the hashtags. There also is a link for sewing a cover together. It isn't a must to have a cover or make it your pieces, or have your pieces in a book. You can do whatever with them as you like. You can put them in a box, you can sew them on a scroll, you can take an old sheet and sew them all on there, or buy a sketchbook or buy an old book in the second-hand store and alter it and put them in there. And not so long ago, one of the members in the group has bought in a second-hand store also a bowl that fits her embroidery, so they can lie in a stack in that bowl, and this is the way she will keep her things. So you can see here, so chunky and fat, and my cover is too small now, but I will wait here until I have done, I think, about the last second last or the last one. Then I will make a new cover, and then I will make a video of that. But I have 2 signatures here, and I will just remove this one, the first signature, and find where I left you last time. And this was this funny spirally wavery running thing there. So now I'm ready, so we can start on the next page here, and I will tell you what to do. And now I think I need to drink some water. My voice is sorry, I haven't been talking very much. I had just have said good morning to my hubby, and then he went away, and now I have been on my own until now, and it is about 1 o'clock now, I think. So that was, so away with that, and then I can start telling you what the Dogma rules are here for week 48. And it goes as follows. Here, let me see where I can put you there. I think it's fine. Find a piece of fabric in a light color. And I have chosen this light color with some doodling on, and you can choose a plain color or some with a little pattern, that you decide that, but not heavily patterned. Perhaps it would have been better with a fabric with no pattern, but now I have chosen this pattern here. And then we do, as we have done a lot of times, trace one big circle. And then it's up to you. You can trace the circle also if you want to, by stitching running stitches, double running stitches, back stitches, or Carol, as you do, split back stitches, I think is your favorite. But do whatever you will or won't here on the circumference. And then you have to divide the circle up in two, and how you will divide it up, that is up to you. If you will make a line all the way through there, you can do that all the way through there or there. If you will do it like this, you can do that. If you would do it like this, you can do it like that. It is really up to you to divide it up in two areas, and they don't necessarily has to be the same size or have the two areas, but that is up to you. Yeah, that was rule number 1. And rule number 2 is sewing cross stitches or plus stitches. It doesn't matter if they turn one way or the other way. Pluses or crosses, that's the same ball game. And in one of the areas, let me finish rule number 2 first. The first thing you do in one of the areas is to sew a layer with a thick thread. And when you're done with that, you sew a layer over that with a thin thread. And you do it the same in the other area. First the thick thread and then the thin thread. So you get all over a filled out space here with cross stitches overlapping each other. And in one of the areas you must choose a thin thread and a thick thread in one color, and in the other area a thin thread and a thick thread in the other color. And it is up to you which colors you want to use. Perhaps it depends on what kind of fabric you have chosen, but I can show you mine. I have these two here. That is a thin thread, and I have a thick pearl cotton here. I have chosen these colors because they are some grayish, bluish here. First I started out with taking only grays. I have 2 dark grays and 2 light grays, and I would have loved it myself, but I'm sure most of you would have found it very boring, that color. But so I have taken these 2 blue also. So this is for one area, and this is for one area, and this is for the other area. So I hope you got it and can understand what I'm saying. And of course I will also write the rules here below the video. So away with these, and I find my pencil and my tools to mark it up, and then we can start. As always, I don't like to sew in such a flimsy fabric. I don't know what it is. I think it is some kind of patchwork fabric or quilt fabric, but it's a little softer than they normally are. So I found a piece from an old sheet or pillowcase or whatever it was. I have used this many times. This is quite lovely and soft and easy to stitch through. So I will just invisible base that down so I have something to hold on to. And this I have also shown you earlier. Yeah, I won't say 1,000 times, but many times. So you come up and go a couple of threads back, and you come up about 1 centimeter ahead, a couple of threads back, and go forward a about a centimeter, and I think this needle here I want to change when I've done this, because I think it is became very blunt, and that is because I have stitched so much in paper with it. I think another thing, while I'm doing this, I can talk a little about this. Some of the challenges here in this year long Dogma rule challenge or stitch circle show challenge has been on paper, and my experience, or what I can see, is that not many of you like to do these exercises or challenges when I'm doing them on paper. And I think that is a pity, because it is of course very different to stitching in paper, but you can get such lovely results. But if you have a strong opinion about it and don't want to stitch in paper, all of these challenges where I did it in paper, you of course can translate it and do it in fabric. So don't skip them, do them in fabric instead. I of course I encourage you to do the challenge as I say, but yeah, it's a free world. I won't come after you if you do something else. This is just my way of doing things, and perhaps it can help those of you who isn't so good at coming up with things themselves or by themselves, to get ideas here from me. But use them and do what you will with them. I will do this all the way around, and then I will be back. And I don't mind that line. I don't like to iron. I don't love my iron. But as soon as we start stitching, it doesn't matter. So now it is sitting there and not running away from me, and I have something more sturdier to hold on to. And that is just what I like. And I found this cookie thing to punch cookies out with, and I think I will go with this size. And sorry if my hair or anything is coming in here, but I like to center it the best I can, and I think this is fine here. So I will just trace the line here like that. There, and away with that. And I think I will take this thread here and do a round of running stitches, so I can see the outline. And you have seen me also done that 1,000 times. So I will just hit the line. Oh, and I forgot to change the needle. No, I will go for it. But and go all the way around. The only thing to take care of is when you nearly at the end and where you come to where you started, that is to eyeball it. And you can see I made a very small stitch there, and that is, yeah, that's because I'm talking and not taking care of what I'm doing. But that was a good example. So that is not how you want to end your round. You want to eyeball it so they nearly are the same length, your stitches. And so if when you come to here, stop there and see, can I make this or this or this? That is the way I do it. I'm sorry for my voice today. Maybe I should sing a little song for myself. I won't bother you with it, but I will do this all the way around and be back. Done with the outlining here of my circle, and now I have to decide how I would divide this area inside the circle up in 2 areas. And I have done so many other things, but I was thinking about, do you know that when you crack an egg, it always goes doot 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 like this, and then the chicken puts its head up there. So I was thinking about something like some peaks and valleys. So I think I will go for that, but I will make them somehow a little big. So I think this is fine, like that. And then I will stitch the 2 different colors in each area. So, and I think I will start with the light one and see how that looks. And I can see this pearl cotton here is a thicker one than this one is. I really don't know the numbers. This has, yeah, this is perhaps number 5, if there's something called that. And there's sitting something in here. Does that say anything? No. Number 8, I think. Yeah, that is why they're different. But it's the only colors I have I can use for this. I don't do it much in blue. So you, as I say to you, use what you have. So I have done the same. So it must be like that. So now I will fill this area here with cross stitches, and I can just start out here. Cross stitches or pluses, that's, you can say that's one of the in the same ball game. And I'll just go down in the line there. That was just a little plus. And you decide how big or small or tall or narrow or wide they will have to be. There, and now it can be a little difficult here. And if it is hopeless to see the difference, I can always trace that line also, but I hope I don't need to do that. Or I can decide I don't want to do that. So I will just jump around here on my surface, and I can see it is a quite fat thread this here for this little piece, but that's the thread I have. So sometimes I sew a normal cross stitch, and sometimes I just sew a plus. That is, you can see, you can't really see much of if I done one thing or the other. So oops, that is my needle. But I think you can see what I'm doing. So I will fill this area with these stitches here, and then I can show it to you. Done with all the pluses and cross stitches, and in the hindsight I would have hoped that I wished for I had a little thinner thread than this. Not as thin as this one, but it is a little perhaps clumsy, but we'll see how it will look now when I take my thin thread and then as the trick here is to keep them in one of this area, and that has worked quite well, I think. But the tricky part is to make them totally random. Like when you're doing seed stitches, they also have to be totally random, and that can be tricky for some. But I just drizzle them out there. But now I will do exactly the same, but don't think of what these stitches there are already there. I will do them totally random, and I think some of the legs I will do a little longer or a little shorter or something. So if I just start here, down here, I will go up here and over there and come down here. Yeah, I think I will have to sew a little more before you can perhaps see it. But it is just totally random what I'm doing. And I don't take notice of the stitches that are already there. I just go over them, and I think I'm making them a little bigger perhaps than the stitches there are there already. So it will end up in a total mess, and that's exactly how I have thought of it. This here is very effectful for covering a surface, if that's what you want to do. The stitch pattern will be totally blurred out here if you do it like this. And nobody perhaps will be able to think what you have been doing here. But the important thing is to go with the thickest thread first. And just don't think, just stitch. I don't know how much you can see of it, but I think it would end up nice when I've done the whole surface. So I will continue filling this area out with the same color here. Okay, done with the second layer of stitching, and it is so yummy in my opinion. Textured, really textured. So yeah, because it is totally random and very heavy textured, I think I like it. But now I will take the other color and start the same way with the thickest thread, but this thread isn't as thick as the other one. So I am a little excited to see how that will look, but I can do nothing else but begin and see what happens. Let us start up here in the peak here. Color-wise, I think it is okay. And all this pattern you can't see, but the only way you can see it out there, and that is fine with me. But of course I could just have taken a solid color. But you don't need to see me stitching all these stitches. It takes a little time to do that, but it's exactly the same. And I have done this area here with and filled that out with this thread here. I will take my thinner thread and go all over it like I had done there. The only thing to take a little care of is not to drag too much in your thread when you don't sew in a hoop, so it still lies pretty flat. Yeah. Yeah, how about sewing with the pointy end and not with the eye? Won't get far with that. Yeah, there's a lot of twisting and turning here when you sew in circles, and you'd sew it totally random. That is also a lot of twisting and turning. I'm nearly running out of thread now here, but I will continue and show you this layer when I'm done with that. That was all the blue cross and plus stitches there, and it looks a little different, but I'm sure when I start filling out with a thin thread upon this, all these blue stitches, it would look the same as this, and then the line would be clearer here. So again, I will just start here up in the peak, and I think this is the funniest, or not funny, but the nicest way here, because it is so random, and you just stitch and overlap and do whatever way you want to do your stitches. So it can be quite difficult to see what it is you have been doing. Just overlap a lot. Yeah, already it becomes clearer where the line is between the two blue colors. Also, the fabric is become quite thick and textured here. I really like it, but it's take some time to do all this, but enjoy it while you're doing it. Think of everything else than stitching, then it will go by itself. Whoops, and no knots please. Yeah. But again, I will stitch all this darker blue area, and then I can show it to you. Done and dusted, ready. That was a lot of stitching, so I think it is nice. It is, yeah, in my part of the world, it is nearly winter time, or late fall, so something for the long evenings to do. It took me several hours to stitch this, but I really like it. Perhaps you think it is too grungy or too strange, but yeah, I have shown you something, and take with you what you like and use that. If you don't like it, don't use it, but try it anyhow. If you're a quilter and you want to quilt a surface, I think this also could be a very nice way of quilting several layers together. It really gets a nice texture. Yeah, but here, I'm sorry for my arm, my book, and let me take it out of the cover here and find, I think I want the lightest up. So, and the scissors here, and my double-sided tape, but you don't need to use double-sided tape if you have so many pages in your book, so you can have an embroidery on one side of the page and nothing on the other side. Then you can of course sew it instead of gluing. In fact, I'm not that keen on glue and textiles, but I can't see anywhere any way else to do it other than I should have glued it all down, put an amount of matte medium or so on, but then it is sitting there. I think if I at some point want to do it, I can get these pieces out. So let me see here, so as flat as possible. Yeah, that was a little crooked, but it is difficult when it buckles under here. Whoops, there it is. And yeah, it is so chunky. But I will take some close-ups at the end of the video. It can be a little hard to figure out what it is you have been doing, but I like it a lot. And I hope you have been inspired, and I hope you have learned some new things or some tips and tricks. And I hope you will give it a try yourself. And else I don't think I want to say much more, but enjoy what you're doing. Think of everything else and let your thoughts go walk about when you're stitching. Is about getting done in a hurry. Enjoy your process. Yeah. So I will just say, please take care, and please be creative, and also please be nice to each other. And then I would just say bye for now, and I will see you again next Thursday. Then we have only, this was 48, 49, 4 weeks more to go before this year is over. And I can't quite understand how this has gone so quick, but it has. No, enough of me talking. Bye for now. Hi.